What is up, everybody? Today we're in front of the Fat Boy once again because I don't think a lot of y'all understand why nowadays you would buy a Harley-Davidson. That's what I'm here to talk about today. And I understand that you can buy a brand new MT-07, get the comfortability, definitely more speed, more reliability.
Barely.
For the most part, you can get more for less if you stay outside the Harley world. Well, why would you buy a Harley-Davidson now?
Listen,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
At the same time, like I said, where there are cheaper options out there, they are cheaper for a reason.
The ghetto.
Because if you look at the controls on my Harley here, whereas my R6, you could tell that there's a little bit more resilience with how this is made compared to the R6. Now, before y'all start bashing me in the comments saying how good your Yamaha or how good your Suzuki is,
Trash. Yeah, I love trash. Yum, yum, trash.
have you ever ridden a Harley? And if you have, I bet you it's older than your Japanese bike. And I bet you it still runs good and everything still works fine if the bike was taken care of. That is because these things are heirloom motorcycles. They are meant to be barn found in 20 years, and you change the fuel, change the spark plugs, change the oil, and it will run. These are meant to pass on from generation to generation and be part of your family, whereas Japanese companies that get into the cruiser scene and do all that stuff, it's impossible to find parts for those bikes. Whereas I lose any part for this, I can go down to the Harley dealer, pick it up, this bike will be taken care of forever. And if not, the aftermarket support for these is just crazy. You can go online and pick up whatever you want for one of these bikes. Even this one, new. There are plenty of companies that make the chopped fenders, the handlebars already pre-wired and everything too at that. We got wheels, fenders, everything for this bike that I can get online right now. And back to the quality of the Japanese motorcycles, while the engines I think are stout, everything else around it isn't really meant to last like one of these. One of the main kickbacks of having a Harley is it's heavy and it's slow. Well, yeah, we got real metal all the way around this bike. It's heavy, it is. And is it very fast? I think it's fast enough for me. I don't know how crazy y'all are out there that y'all think y'all need more speed than 130 miles an hour. It will get you into some trouble. That's all the speed you need. I don't want to get twisted on how much like that I'm kissing Harley's or whatever like that. They've done some questionable things, especially with this new CEO in place. But at the same time, that's not why I buy a Harley-Davidson, because I support whatever the people in suits are doing that probably don't really even ride these things, let's be real. The reason why I buy a Harley-Davidson is the nostalgia factor to it. That is the main selling point for me, why I will forever probably have a Harley in the garage, is the nostalgia feeling to it. And anyone who buys old themed things that are new, you know what I'm talking about, because this is definitely an older looking motorcycle. But it's not old. This is a 2022. There's just that niche category of people that like stuff like that, especially nowadays where if I go to the Harley-Davidson dealership to buy parts, I'm more than likely not gonna run into people my age. You know, we just don't see people around my age riding Harleys. And I think that that should change. Speed isn't everything when it comes to riding a motorcycle.
Boo! You stink!
Now, like I said earlier, we can get plenty of speed with one of these, but I like to get into the cruising. I wouldn't want to say touring. You can on one of these, like I've said in my very first video, you can that's just not really my thing. I won't go for like a weekend trip or whatever like that. I just don't have the time. I work too much. But for me, that I take this bike to work, I take it on errands, I ride my bike as much as I can. This is the perfect bike for me. You take this bike, I can keep it running forever. We have whole engine replacements. We have just the top end, just the bottom end. We have everything that we can do to these. Whereas my R6, once the engine goes on that, I can maybe get one from the junkyard, eBay, whatever. But you're not buying that from the dealership. You're not buying that as easily as I could for this thing. And that's just the name of the game, and that's why Harley's been around as long as it is. And for me, it's just the value of the logo. I'll be real here, I like the logo. I like being able to say I ride a Harley-Davidson and stuff like that, and people ask what kind of bike is it. It's a Harley-Davidson.
Everyone realizes that people who are so needy for attention they need to dress up and be as loud as possible are you guys and 16-year-old girls. Just wanted to let you know, you're fucking fags.
That has a different ring to it, whereas you say, I have a Yamaha Bolt, or I have Suzuki Boulevard. I'm just gonna be real with you here. If you were given the option between take a brand new Harley Street Glide, but you have to burn your Suzuki Boulevard, I'm willing to bet you would burn that Suzuki Boulevard to the ground.
Yeah, fire! Fire!
But I digress. It's for the name for me. And a lot of people are gonna pay that tax. And I understand that. It's a lot of money to be putting into a toy. These are toys.
I need about 350.
And I've always loved this brand because even though in recent times we've had the CEO for Harley that has kind of gone a little bit to the left, it's still the company that will say, F you, we're gonna do this anyway. Because look at this bike, for example. In the day of body shaming, in the day of cancel culture, they still call a motorcycle the fat boy. They put a 240 tire on the rear. Why? Why not? That's why. They put a fat tire on the front. Everything is wide on this bike. Why? Because that's why. Just the new imitate power plant. All their big twin engines just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Where even now, a lot of companies are going electric. Harley's just over here. Our customers don't want that. We're gonna keep going bigger and bigger and bigger with our engine sizes and displacement. There's just all sorts of other shit that they do just to say F you to the rest of the companies. Like, everyone always loves to say, oh, you pay today's prices for yesterday's technology on a Harley. You're wrong. Harley's been innovating these engines forever. Like, they have all sorts of different technology in them, and yes, they're still air cooled. They're just starting to get more into the liquid cooled because they did it before, and what happened? Their customers didn't like it. It's not that Harley's not over here innovating, it's that they already know what their customers want. And we want that nostalgia factor. And that is why Harley customers keep going back to this company. Because they know what they know what to do, they know what to sell, and they know what's gonna sell. And even look at the new liquid cooled motorcycles, such as the Sportster S and the Nightster. They're liquid cooled, and they kind of kept that old school look to the Nightster anyway. Whereas it kind of looks like an older Dyna. And people are starting to realize that. We want the old stuff. We want it new. We want all the nice bells and whistles sometimes with some of the things on these bikes. But we want classic looking bikes with new technology in it. That's just the way I am. That's the way whoever buys these bikes is. It's about feeling old school, having that old school look to it, and enjoying the actual act of riding a motorcycle than going out there for the thrill, for the adrenaline rush of going triple digits all the time. A lot of us that ride Harleys know that this bike is not going to do all that. It'll go triple digits and it'll do it smooth, but that's not what it's meant for. It's meant to go and enjoy, go have fun. And also, Harley-Davidson is just the inventor of the cruiser motorcycle. I've always liked cruisers. I thought cruisers were the coolest thing ever since I saw one when I was a little kid. Harley-Davidson is just the inventor of it. You wouldn't have a cruiser motorcycle category if it was not for Harley-Davidson doing their thing.
I am the cream.
All these other companies, their target is to compare to Harley-Davidson. If you watch any sort of review on any other cruiser motorcycle besides a Harley-Davidson, the comparison is to Harley-Davidson. Now I'm talking to all you Indian guys out there. I'm sorry, at the end of the day, all your bikes are made for is a cash grab to compete with Harley-Davidson. I'm sorry, I said it, but it's true. Why do you have every motorcycle that looks just like a Harley-Davidson? Your Scouts are the Sportster competitors. Your Chieftains are the roguelike competitors, if I got that right. Every motorcycle company has a cash grab at Harley because Harley owns the cruiser market. And again, they're just a company that says, F you, we can do whatever we want, but we know what our customers want. And they heard everyone saying Harley doesn't innovate or whatever. Look at the Pan America. It's one of the highest selling adventure motorcycles around now. Don't come at me saying that Harley doesn't innovate, Harley doesn't do all that stuff, because they can do it, and I believe that they can take over the market on whatever they want to do. They just don't. They just don't, because they know what we want. We want cruisers, and that's what they deliver on. And it's also just fun for me getting into the Harley world and stuff like that at my age and whatever. I go to a Harley dealership for some parts, change my oil. You see the old people showing up, playing dress up in all their leather. They got the vest on with no shirt under, the wallet chain down to their knees and stuff like that. Okay, mine's not down to my knees.
Mind your fucking business.
You know, we got all these older dudes playing dress up and stuff. We also got the younger guys like me. They pull up on like a 2000s Dyna. There's just so much diversity in between people who own these kinds of bikes. And then you have the people like me who just like riding a motorcycle and doing it comfortably. Everyone always takes like a little jab at me saying, well, that thing will leak oil in 10,000 miles. I have never had a Harley-Davidson leak oil. I know back in the 70s and stuff like that, when AMF bought out Harley, quality control wasn't that good, and they would give out frisbees and stuff at the dealership, but instead of giving them out, they had them underneath the bike to catch the oil. Yeah, sure, that was a 70s thing, and those are still the coolest bikes around. People still want shovel head, pan heads, and all that. Even if they leaked oil, people still want them. There is just nothing to replace a Harley-Davidson, even though all these companies tried to. And I think the closest competitor is probably Indian. I test rode an Indian Scout, and it was just so, I don't want to say boring, because it still had that cruiser feel to it, but it just felt like it was just trying to get that Harley image. But you know, if you bought one and you enjoy it, that's great. Having a motorcycle that you enjoy is great.
You make me happy.
But for the purpose of this video, I'm talking what I think, why I stick with Harley-Davidson. But that's another thing everyone loves to bring up, is the cost of buying a Harley-Davidson. There's plenty on Marketplace and stuff like that. If you want to buy a Sportster, which, don't come at me saying that that is a girl's bike. That is the last original Harley-Davidson. You can pick one of those up under 10 grand all day long, especially if you go into like the the early 2000s to like 2013 or so, before they did the big change up in 2015 with them. And those are amazing motorcycles. The cost doesn't have to be extravagant for you to get into a Harley. Just cause you're getting into motorcycles doesn't mean you need the biggest and baddest bike around. Why did I buy a Fat Boy? No one I know has a Fat Boy. It's what I liked. It's what I wanted. I don't know, I like thick things. What can I say? For me, I bought this one at a dealership, and at the end of the day, it was so worth the headache of it. I personally hate going to a dealership. You go in there, you have your heart attack from seeing that there is a $50,000 CVO Road Glide on the floor right there. You wake up from your heart attack, your sales guy tells you, hey, are you here to see this bike? You say yes. He kind of talks you into a couple more, so you go ride a couple more. Then you get back from that test ride. You decide on a bike. You sign the paperwork. They make you ring that dumb bell and just announce to everyone,
I make bad financial decisions.
But then you finally get to ride it home. Now you're starting to really meet the bike. You're starting to see like all this other stuff. You're starting to see how it works, how it sounds, how it feels to ride it.
What do you mean by that?
I'm sure that's similar to a lot of other bikes. I didn't feel it when I got the R6. I definitely felt it when I got this bike. They are just an attitude all their own, and that is why I will always have a Harley-Davidson in the garage. And I don't want to make this video to be on Harley's dick or whatever like that, but I feel like there's a lot of discrepancy nowadays between my generation and owning a Harley. I want to come out here and say that they're still cool. I don't care what you say. They will always be cool, and they will always be the company that says, "F you."